Little Red Riding Pooh. One blustery day, Winnie the Pooh invited his friends over for a smackerel of honey and some tea. As the friends sat down to the snack, Christopher Robin asked, "Would any of you like to hear a fairy tale?" "Oh dear," said Piglet, trembling. "I hope it won't be too scary." "It won't," said Christopher Robin, "I promise." And then he began with the magical words, "Once upon a time, in the woods lived a sweet little bear who was loved by everybody, especially his grandmother. She had given the little bear a handsome red shirt that he liked so much. He wore it every day. That is how he got the name Little Red Riding Pooh. One day, Little Red Riding Pooh's mother told him, "Little Red Riding Pooh, please take this pot of honey to your grandmother. She is not feeling well. And remember, dear, please don't wander off the path or speak to anyone." As Little Red Riding Hood Pooh skipped through the woods, whom should he meet but a wolf? It was the strangest wolf he had ever seen. It had stripes and small round ears instead of big pointy ones, and it bounced a lot. "Good morning, Little Red Riding Pooh," said the wolf. "Good morning, Wolf," said Little Red Riding Pooh. "Where are you going to so early in the day?" asked the wolf. "To grandmother's house," replied Little Red Riding Pooh. "And what do you have in that big pot?" asked the wolf. "Some yummy honey for my grandmother," said Little Red Riding Pooh. "But oh, I do wish I could have a snack roll. My tummy is ever so rumbly." The wolf smiled. "Now, Buddy Boy, Little Red Riding Pooh, you must give the honey to me, I mean your grandmother. Where does she live?" "Near the 6 pine trees," said Little Red Riding Pooh. "Hoo, hoo, hoo," said the wolf. "That's not very far from here. Why don't you stop and pick some flowers for your grandmother? I'll bounce ahead and tell her you're coming." Little Red Riding Pooh thought that was a wonderful idea, so he wandered off the path and began picking flowers, honeysuckle, of course. Once he was done, he took the tiniest taste of honey from the pot. "Think, think, think," he said to himself. "Oh, I wasn't supposed to wander off the path or speak to anyone, and I did both. Bother." Feeling very sorry indeed, Little Red Riding Pooh jumped up and hurried on his way. Soon Little Red Riding Pooh reached his grandmother's house. He found his dear old granny in bed with the covers drawn up to her eyes. "Oh, grandmother, what round furry ears you have," said Little Red Riding Pooh. "The better to hear you with, my dear." "And grandmother, what beady little eyes you have, the better to see you with, my dear. And what big paws you have, grandmother, the better to hug you with, my dear." "And grandmother," said Little Red Riding Pooh, "what a big mouth you have, the better to eat honey with," said the wolf as he leaped out of bed and grabbed the honey pot. The wolf took a big pawful of honey and stuffed it in his mouth. "Yuck," he sputtered. "Wolves do not like honey." Just then the little bear's grandmother came in carrying a basket of vegetables from her garden. "Oh, grandmother, thank goodness you're all right," cried Little Red Riding Pooh. "A wolf has sneaked into your house and he wants something to eat." The smart grandmother held out a carrot to the wolf. "Try this, Mr. Wolf," she said. "It's much tastier than honey." The wolf grabbed the carrot and took a big bite. "Yuck," he cried, "a vegetable. Wolves do not like vegetables. I'm going to go someplace where there's good food to eat." With that, the wolf bounced out the door, never to be heard from again. After Christopher Robin finished the story, Tigger said, "Gee, that wolf reminds me of somebody." "And Little Red Riding Pooh reminds me of a certain Pooh Bear I know," said Piglet. "Which reminds me, would anyone like more honey?" asked Pooh. So the friends continued to eat and chat while the wind gusted gustily and the rain rained down on a 100-acre wood.